Hey there, shouldn't you be doing something productive?
The movies, a fun experience that you can enjoy with family and friends. There are a lot of modern masterpieces with many layers, like Shrek the Third and Onions. But what about the others?
Others?
What about the bad movies?
Bad?
What about old movies?
As Alfred Hitchcock once said, quote, always make the audience suffer as much as possible, unquote. Here at Something Productive, we suffer through bad movies, so you can suffer through us.
Roll the thing.
And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air. For it repenteth me that I have made them.
Hello, welcome back. We just finished
Attack of the
Crab
Crab Monsters.
Even though I think there was only one crab
No,
monster.
no, there were two, right? There's the one that they killed, and then the other one.
Oh, you right.
Attack of the Crab Monsters. A quick plot summary to keep you updated on the excitement of this movie. So, a long time ago in the Cold War, there were bomb tests over I think the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And this one island got radiated from the bombs. So a group of scientists went there to look into that radiation, and then they died. The ends.
Just kidding.
Sort of. Then another group of scientists came, and then they all died except for two. The end.
Let's give them a little more than that.
Okay. So the second group of scientists, they get there, and they're warned by some military guy that this island is sketchy, and also a lot of people died here. And then someone dies, a demolitionist. Although demolitionist is difficult to say, so from now on they will be referred to as the Boom Boom Boys. Boom Boom Boy 1 dies. Then they find a pit with crabs in it.
Really? An attack of the crab monsters?
Yep.
Wow.
And then a cocky guy goes into the pit, then he dies.
It's a lot of death.
Yeah, well, what do you expect? Then I think around this time, two things happen that are sort of relevant to the plot. One more than the other. A giant crab monster goes into their base and hacks up the radio so they can't communicate with the outside world.
Until the end, where they get some Hawaiian music?
Yeah, they managed to send out an SOS, I think.
And listen to Hawaiian music.
Which is, more important than the SOS with
Right.
the crabs. Yeah. And then a random plane flies by.
No, I think the plane was bringing them supplies.
It explodes.
No reason behind it. It just explodes.
Yeah, no, there were no crab monsters on the plane. There was nothing wrong with the plane that we know of. It just exploded.
And then there was a massive rainstorm, which I don't see exactly how everything follows. Also, at some point, there was like this massive flock of birds that just went woof and flew away. Like it was the birds or something, but it wasn't.
This is a interesting movie. Let's go with that. Okay, so after plane explosion and crab attack, the other Boom Boom Boys are killed in their tent while playing cards for cigarettes. I don't know why that's really relevant.
Oh, the one guy had never won a round before. This is his first round.
Yeah, this is
very important.
Very important and relevant information will come up again. There will be a quiz at the end.
Please study.
And then they go into the caves that are underneath the island. Also, the island is being destroyed.
By the crab monsters.
Just thought you'd want to know.
But that brings me to a question. So they're there to demolish stuff. They're the Boom Boom Boys.
The Boom Boom Boys, yes.
But if the island is so unstable because there's constantly earthquakes that cause a bunch of rocks to go falling, and then, like, the crabs exploding things, why are they there? Are they there to blow things up?
I don't know.
Or are they there to, like, clean up the radiation? Because they go swimming a lot, and that'd be a lot of exposure to radiation.
Yeah, by the way, every single person in this movie dies of radiation poisoning. I mean, they also die because of crab monsters.
But
But
if there wasn't the crab monsters,
they die of radiation poisoning.
like 50 years later, and the
Not
U.S.
50 years later, like 5 years later.
Fine, 5 years later, and the U.S. government's like, my bad, mate.
Sounds about right. Where were we? Right, they won't go into the caves underneath the island, which are there, by the way, and they see some crab monsters. They kill one of the crab monsters, but...
Steal its claw.
Yeah.
They chop it off. And it's like mercury, guys. It's like mercury.
There's some weird analogies in this. We'll get back to that later. And then, let me think what happens. Right, and then one of the characters, who I'll call Handy, has his hand chopped off.
He also has a weird accent. Might be French. He speaks a bit of French. And his name is Jules.
Yeah.
But it definitely wasn't a French accent. Which makes me wonder why it's even relevant for the plot anyways, that he had the accent and was French.
You just need to add some diversity. And back when this movie was made, you don't add diversity by adding characters of different races or, different genders.
You just put another white person in from a different country.
French. You make them French.
I mean, yeah, French. Not Russian, though, because the Russians are evil, those commies.
I actually think one of the characters was Russian. Weird accent guy, too.
I don't think that was a Russian.
But he also dies. Next plot point. Second weird accent guy dies. Third plot point. They figure out that if they shoot lasers at the crab will die.
No. It's because of the electrons, right? Because it's negatively charged, so they have to positively charge it, and then it explodes and reduces to ashes, like Thanos' snap. But not.
Yeah, it's... There's no real science in this movie, but they sure like to pretend that there is.
We'll get on to that a little bit later.
Weird accent guy dies trying to trap the crab with lasers and kill it, but then the island is all gone all of a sudden, except for a tiny bit. So there are 3 characters left who we haven't talked about at all. There's
the love triangle.
The love triangle, right? There's Hairy Chest Man, who is obviously the woman character's, main romantic interest. And
Siri's boyfriend, not
Yeah.
fiance yet, because they gotta get that promotion. Because.
And then there's a fair guy who clearly wants to bang woman, but doesn't. Too bad.
R.I.P. Bangman.
And then a fair guy dies in a heroic sacrifice to kill Crab. And then literally after that, the movie ends. With no other ending. That's it. Crab dies. You get to see...
Well, they clutch.
You get to see if Hairy Chest Man and woman clutch each other.
And stroke each other really... Like, she just, like needs him like he's a cat. Like, she's a cat and he's... It's a strange movie.
And then it ends.
Yeah.
So, as with most movies that I think we're going to cover, this was pretty bad.
Not like a good bad. This one was just kind of a bad.
Yeah, really bad. So let's go over a few of the reasons why it is bad. And I think it's good to sort of go over what I think is important in a movie. So I think one of the first things is how did it look? Right? It was... What were the visuals? Did the visuals give you information? Did they... Were they edited together well?
I thought the editing was fine.
I didn't.
No, you thought it was...
I thought it was real bad.
Real chop?
Yeah.
I didn't notice it, but I was kind of focused on more of the visuals and how a lot of them had no, like, particular meaning to them. They just kind of plopped a camera down and were like, record.
There was a lot of filler in this movie, and it isn't a very long movie.
It's a little less than an hour.
So, not a lot actually happens. There's a lot of sort of, like 2 characters go swimming for a while, the woman and the affair man, and there's just, 3 minutes...
Of them swimming.
There's no talking, there's no, oh, the crab's in the background. Oh, that's cool.
Suspense.
There's like some mildly ominous music playing over the top.
Stock music. If they
Stock.
had stock music in the 50s. I think they did. I don't see so.
Maybe. And yeah, they just 3 minutes of him swimming.
You know, if it was to build up to something, I think it would be perfectly fine. Like in Creature from the Black Lagoon, there's a lot of scenes where it's underwater, but it adds up to something and it's leading to something and it establishes. But this is just swim!
Yeah, no, after they're done swimming, they get out of the ocean and then new scene.
There's no real reason behind it except they needed time.
Yeah. And
maybe to establish they were underwater or on an island.
No. That was established real early on.
That's true.
So I also do want to point out that the editing here is really choppy in that it'll cut from different characters very frequently. Like there'll be two different characters doing two different things, and it'll just sort of cut randomly in different scenes, and it's really awkward.
Yeah.
Like there was this one time where hairy chest guy was running in the caves, and weird accent guy was running in the caves as well, and it was cut so that it would do one shot of hairy chest man, one shot of weird accent man, and they were running towards each other. One was running to the left, one was running to the right. And so it looked like they were running towards each other. But they weren't. And I just thought that was really bad editing.
Yeah, usually with editing and in the camera angles and everything, it's part of the story. That's why silent films worked, was because they could tell the story with how the movie was edited and how the camera angles and what those portray, and then also the acting itself. But it was kind of clunky, that'll be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah. Also just some kind of sloppy camera work. I remember there are a lot of earthquakes as the island is sort of getting destroyed by the crab monster. And oftentimes they just shake the camera.
I mean, they did that in Star Trek and it worked fine.
Yeah, but still, they could have done more.
I guess.
So it didn't look very good. But what were the characters like? Were the characters interesting? Were they intriguing? Did you like these people?
I honestly can't give you a personality trait for all of them, or if any of them. I mean, we kind of made all the nicknames based off appearances and then accents.
Yep.
They had no real personality, I would say.
They were scientists. So
they were
you know
smart.
what that means? They got to do a lot of technobabble and just random science words and phrases thrown in.
It was a lot of pseudo-intellectualism, and not even that, that's putting it really kindly.
Yeah.
At the one point where the one scientist dude, don't remember which one, because
they were all scientists.
It was the really smart sciencey dude. It might have been the general, the French dude. French accent man.
Handy.
Yeah, Handy. Said that. So the crab breaks into their laboratory thing, and then it demolishes and breaks a bunch of stuff, and then they all come in to investigate, and the one guy, Handy, goes, yes, it's scared of the light. But there's no real, discernible connection between the two, except for the fact that he
but Grace,
the light.
You're forgetting.
Am I?
You see, that it's like electromagnetism.
Oh, right.
Right? And atoms, they get moved between things. And it's made of all negative atoms.
Yeah,
don't ask us what any of that means, because that is just us quoting this really dumb movie.
Yeah, they said something no collusion between the atoms. Are they committing a crime? What are they doing? Also, they talked about how the atoms were acting like electrons when electrons are part of atoms. And I don't exactly understand the connection there. And
Yeah.
I doubt it's the limited science that we've learned since then. I mean, we've learned a lot of science, but like...
We've, like, I'd say, with our experience with science, we've actually learned all this stuff.
Right.
And I think I have a firmer grip on what's going on with electrons and atoms than this movie does.
Right. And the one guy does make a comment about high school science. We're going off high school science.
Yep.
Thank you,
Yep.
Mr. Skillern.
So, the characters didn't have any personality, and we gave them a bunch of euphemisms, so they can't have been that good. But what was the plot like? Was it stupid?
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty
like our
stupid.
president. A hot mess. Oh, wait, he's not hot.
But yeah, it's just dumb. Like, all the things that are happening in the movie are dumb. People obviously shouldn't be on the island because it's an irradiated mess, and also because, another group of people were on the island, but they all died. That doesn't seem worrying at all. Let's send in the next group of scientists.
It seems like nothing held any weight.
Yeah.
Like people died.
People
died.
died.
That's really sad, especially when you're on like a mission like that. That's a big problem.
People like the affair guy repaired the radio, but that didn't do anything.
Right, because he spent all that time working on to repair it, and then it would take a while for the people to get there.
Yeah. And then it was like, oh, they're swimming. That must mean something. No, they're just swimming. That's just something that happened that they used to fill time. A lot of this movie is just them, the director and the writers, trying to find ways to fill the time between very awkward character interactions.
Right.
And it's just very bad as a result.
It kind of felt like that they put a bunch of ideas mashed in together, like with the crab monster, with the whole telepathy thing where it would absorb the brain and then the brains would emit signals and talk to people.
But these were also fire crabs, remember? They were super heated and they shot fire out of their claws. Not that we saw any of that on screen, but the science-y people told us that, so therefore it must be true.
Also, they were land crabs.
They were in the water for most of the film.
And I'm not a professional crab person.
Crabster.
Money.
What?
Mr. Krabs.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, yeah, so they had, inconsistent, crab traits. Also, the crab, no offense to them, because I know they probably worked on a really bad budget for the film they were trying to produce. But it looked like that they just had the part of the legs on, hinges, and they just kind of swung around as they pushed the crab.
Yeah, that's probably what was happening.
And I don't think there ever was a full shot of the crab moving.
I mean, they can't do that because there are people pushing it.
Right.
And if you see the people pushing the crab, then the crab kind of loses all effectiveness. And
Wires.
I would like to say, I think the crab looked okay.
Yeah.
It had weird eyes.
Almost like
were not at all crab eyes. I thought that was kind of funny. But, it looked okay. The crab did. They had some good shots of crab.
Nice crab. Very moist.
10 out of 10 crab. 2 out of 7 movie. So, let's just, jump into our closing thoughts here.
Okay. What would you rate the movie? You gave it a 7 out of 10 crabs?
So 10 out of 10 crab. This was good crab. I would eat this crab. Okay, wouldn't. It's Radiation Island.
Yeah.
But, if it wasn't Radiation Island, I would eat this crab.
I wonder how many people it could feed.
Yeah, a lot. It would feed a lot. But I don't really like this movie. It's slow, it's boring, there's no point to it. I didn't really feel like I had any fun or was watching anything interesting.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened.
It was a movie that happened and it didn't know it was happening.
Yeah.
It was trying too hard. I would give it a solid 3 crab out of 10 blob monsters.
2 out of 7 for me.
Yeah.
It's not 1 out of 7, right? It's not actively terrible. It's just so lazy
Yeah.
that it doesn't deserve anything above nearly the worst.
Was it what you expected?
Yes,
You expected?
I expected.
Oh, see, I thought it was going to be like them on a beach, and it was going to be. I guess there was a beach, but like a surfer beach type thing, where like they were on the coast of San Francisco, and there was things like that, and like. But I was wrong
Ha
again.
ha.
Ah. Well, thanks for watching. Now go to Betty.